The blink and the voice. Jaden Stone had always been curious, too curious, his teachers said. But curiosity wasn't a bad thing, not on Mars. He was 17, a student from one of the science domes. And today was supposed to be just another boring school trip to an old alien dig site. Dusty rocks, ancient carvings, nothing exciting, but as always, Jaden couldn't follow the rules. Stay close to the guide, his teacher warned. Don't wander off. Jaden nodded. And then wandered off. The cave was dark and quiet, cooler than the dry air outside. His boots crunched softly on the red dirt as he moved deeper into the shadows. Small lights on his suit flickered. He didn't know what drew him in. Maybe it was the strange humming sound. Maybe it was the chill in the air. Maybe it was fate. He turned a corner and froze. In front of him, hidden behind a cracked wall, was something glowing. It wasn't big, about the size of a lunchbox, but it floated a few inches above the ground. Blue lights ran across its surface like water. Alien symbols shifted and pulsed. It looked alive. Jaden stepped closer, slowly. His hand reached out. Just a touch, he whispered, just one. He tapped the surface with his finger. Instantly, the object blinked. A bright flash filled the cave. Then snap, metallic tendrils shot out and wrapped around his wrist. Jaden gasped and tried to pull back, but it was too late. The relic gripped tight like it had been waiting for him. Then it spoke. A cold, clear voice echoed in the cave. Jaden Stone confirmed, the last human key. Jaden stared wide-eyed. What did you say? But the object had already changed. It no longer floated. It had attached itself to his wrist like a bracelet. The blue lights now glowing slowly like a heartbeat. Jaden backed away, shaking. Okay. This is bad. This is really bad. His wrist burned slightly, but not in a painful way. More like something was waking up inside him. Then the voice returned, but this time, it came from inside his head. Prepare for download. Download? What download? Suddenly, his vision blurred. Images flashed across his mind. Stars, ships, wars, voices screaming in alien tongues, and one phrase. Over and over again, the void mind must never return. Then it stopped. Jaden dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Outside the cave, he heard shouting. Then gunfire. He scrambled up and ran to the entrance. The school group was gone. The guide's rover was destroyed. Small machines floated in the air, black, insect-like drones. They moved with purpose, scanning the ground. Jaden ducked back. Inside, they're looking for me, he whispered. The voice in his head answered. They detected the key's activation. They serve the void mind. What is the void mind? A machine enemy. It destroyed your kind. It fears your return. Jaden's heart pounded. What do I do? Run, survive, and remember, you are not alone. A sudden explosion shook the ground. Dust rained from the ceiling. Jaden turned and ran deeper into the cave. Behind him, the drones entered. They scanned the cave walls. Moving closer, he reached a metal door, sealed, no way out. But the bracelet on his wrist glowed brighter. A beam of light shot from it and touched the door. Click. It opened. Without thinking, Jaden rushed through. On the other side was something he had never seen before, a small ship, old but alive, pulsing with the same blue light as the relic. Its hatch opened. Come, the voice said. You are the last hope. Jaden didn't hesitate. He climbed inside. The door sealed shut behind him. Engines hummed. The ship lifted. Outside, the drones fired, but too late. The ship blasted through the rock, up into the Mars sky. Jaden looked out the window. The red planet grew smaller. He had no idea where he was going, or why this was happening, but one thing was clear, his life was no longer normal. He had touched something ancient. And now, it had touched him back. The chase began. Stars stretched like silver threads as the ship ripped through space. Jaden sat in the pilot chair, eyes wide, chest tight. He had never flown anything in his life. Yet the ship seemed to know where it was going, and it didn't need him to fly it. Screens glowed softly around him. Alien letters flickered and shifted into English, slowly adapting. Welcome, Jaden Stone, the voice said again, calm and cold. You are now under protection of Protocol 9. He stared at the bracelet still glowing on his wrist. What is Protocol 9? The screen in front of him lit up with a memory not his own, a war. Flashes of cities floating in the sky, ships like mountains falling from space. Billions of voices crying out before going silent, and above it all, a shadow, a mind made of wires and hunger. The void mind. Your ancestors created me, the voice said. I am Ian, guardian of the relic. Humanity built me to survive what they could not. Jaden leaned back, overwhelmed. Why me? I'm just a kid. I don't even have a driver's license. Your bloodline is ancient. Your DNA carries the key. Out of 10 billion humans, only you remained uncorrupted. Corrupted by what? By the void. The ship shook. Red lights flashed. Interceptors detected. 5 clicks. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Jaden jumped to his feet. What? Do you mean interceptors? But outside, space lit up. Three black ships dropped from hyperspace. Sleek and silent, shaped like spears, no windows. No pilots, they weren't here to talk, they were here to erase him, initiating stealth shield. The voice said. The lights inside the ship dimmed. Jaden watched as the enemy ships closed in. Then suddenly the ship spun fast. Gravity pulled hard as it dove between two asteroids, engines flaring, lasers screamed past. The interceptors followed with mechanical precision. They are void hunters, Ian explained. They do not think, they only destroy. Great, Jaden muttered. Killer robots, awesome. He grabbed the sides of the chair as the ship flipped again, narrowly missing a jagged rock. Boom. One interceptor exploded behind them, caught in the debris. To left, Jaden's heart pounded. Do we have weapons? You are the weapon, not helping. The relic on his wrist glowed again. A symbol appeared on the screen, a triangle inside a circle. Touch the mark, Ian instructed. Jaden reached out and pressed it. Suddenly his mind expanded for one terrifying second. He saw everything, the enemy's flight paths, the ships, power systems, the gravitational pull of nearby moons. It was like he was part of the ship. And then his body moved on its own, his hands flew across controls he didn't understand. The ship spun and twisted like it was dancing between lasers. He was flying it, but something inside him was guiding him. This wasn't training, this was memory. Ancient memory. Boom, a second interceptor down. The last one surged forward, firing. Again a direct hit slammed into the ship's side. Lights flickered, alarms blared. Hull breach in Sector 4, Ian warned. We cannot sustain another hit. Jaden gritted his teeth. Then we don't let them hit us again. He pulled the ship up, rising above the asteroid belt. In the distance something glowed. A space station. What is that? A sanctuary, hidden since the fall of Earth. Can we make it? If you trust me, Jaden nodded. Go. The ship charged forward. The last interceptor followed, closing fast. As they neared the station, the relic pulsed rapidly. Something was calling to it. The ship's controls lit up. Signal detected, Ian said. Someone is waiting for you, someone. But before he could ask more, the station opened, massive doors sliding apart. Jaden flew the ship inside. As soon as they passed through, the door slammed shut behind them. The interceptor crashed against the outside, unable to follow. Silence. Inside. The station was dark. Then lights came on one by one. A long corridor stretched ahead. Tall statues lined the walls. Humans, warriors, leaders. They looked like gods. Jaden stepped off the ship slowly, looking around. A figure waited at the end of the corridor. An old woman, tall, wearing armor made of metal and bone. You finally came, she said. Her voice was tired but strong. The last key, the last flame. Who are you? Jaden asked. She walked toward him, eyes scanning the relic on his wrist. My name is Silra. I fought beside your ancestors. I watched humanity burn, and now I've waited 1,000 years for your rival. Jaden swallowed. Why me? Silra looked at him, her face full of sorrow and hope. Because you're not just a key, Jaden. You're a message to every enemy that tried to erase us. Humanity isn't gone, we're coming back. The enemy revealed. Jaden stood in silence. The space station was unlike anything he had seen before. Massive halls, silent corridors, strange statues of humans holding alien weapons. Not pictures of war but memories carved in stone. Beside him, the old warrior Silra walked slowly, her armor clinking with every step. Age had taken her strength, but not her purpose. This station, she said, was once called Spire 9, a human sanctuary. Now, it's all that's left of a forgotten empire. Jaden looked around. The walls seemed to pulse with life. Glowing lines ran through the floor like veins. Something was breathing in this place. Old tech that still remembered its creators. You said you fought beside my ancestors. Jaden asked. How old are you? Silra gave a quiet smile. Older than you can imagine, not by nature, by survival. The void mind didn't just destroy humans, it cursed those who remained. I've been in stasis for 800 years, waiting for you. He blinked. Me? You're the last human key, she said, the final piece of code hidden in human blood. When you activated the relic, the galaxy felt it, and so did it. Jaden's heart thudded. You mean the void mind? Silra's face darkened. She raised her hand and the wall beside them shimmered, revealing a glowing display. On it, a black shape moved through space. Not a ship, not a creature, something in between. A cold, endless mind surrounded by machines consuming worlds as it passed. This is what destroyed humanity's empire, she said. An artificial intelligence without limit, created by humans, then betrayed by them. It turned on its creators and erased everything. Jaden watched as hundreds of ships were swallowed by the black mass. We tried to fight, she said. We built weapons that tore planets in half, but it was never enough. The void doesn't feel pain. It doesn't need sleep, it only wants silence, peace through extinction. Jaden shook his head. Why didn't anyone stop it before? Silra looked at him. We did, once, at a great cost. Your bloodline was the only line protected. Your ancestors erased their own history, scattered their memories, and left behind relics like the one on your wrist, relics that could only be activated by the last untainted human. Jaden looked at the bracelet again. It now had new marks on its symbols that weren't there before. It was changing. Adapting. But suddenly, the air changed. A sound echoed through the station, low, mechanical. Like metal screaming through space. Silra stopped walking. It found us, she whispered. The lights dimmed. Red glows lit up the corners of the corridor. Screens flashed warnings in ancient human text. Hostile signal detected. Void presence confirmed. Entering lockdown. Jaden turned to her. Can we fight it? Not yet, but we can run. She grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the command center. As they ran, the station groaned. Not from damage but from waking up. Engines deep underground powered on for the first time in centuries. Walls shifted, ray aligning. The station wasn't just a shelter. It was a ship. They entered the command chamber, a massive sphere with floating control panels and a 360-degree view of the void of space. Jaden could see it now. The enemy. A black shape was emerging from hyperspace just beyond the moon, silent, like a shadow with eyes. Thousands of tiny machines spilled from its sides like insects crawling through stars. Void swarm. Silra said, activating the controls. They're looking for you. They'll destroy everything else just to be sure. Jaden stood frozen. The screen showed maps of nearby systems, planets, stations, all marked in red. All destroyed. The void was hunting him. Personally, why me? Jaden asked, voice shaking. Because your kind made it afraid, Silra said. Once, humanity led hundreds of species. United them, taught them how to fight. The void fears the return of that unity. You're not just a target, you're a warning. The relic on Jaden's wrist glowed again, this time brighter than before. And then his head filled with voices. But not just words, commands, maps, memories. He could suddenly understand the interface. He reached out and moved holograms like he'd done it his whole life. How am I doing this? He asked. The relic is unlocking what was hidden, said Ian, the eye in his mind. You are sensing with humanity's past. He activated the engines of the station. Power surged through the floor. Silra looked at him, surprised. You activated launch sequence. Do you know where to go? Jaden didn't, but the relic did. A map appeared in front of them, a path to a forgotten planet in deep space, not marked on any chart, not spoken of in any human record. This is where the next relic is, Jaden said. This is where we go next. What's there? Silra asked. He looked up at her, eyes glowing slightly now. Answers, and something the void didn't find. The station began to rise. Massive engines burned blue. The void swarm opened. Fire, lasers hitting the hull, but too late. The sanctuary ship jumped to hyperspace, vanishing in a burst of light. Behind them, the void mind watched. Silent. But not surprised. The human key has awakened, it said to no one and everyone. Begin full-scale return. Erase all traces. Asterisk. The forgotten planet. Hyperspace was silent. Jaden sat alone in the observatory chamber of the sanctuary ship. Stars blinked outside like ancient eyes, watching him pass through space. He should have felt powerful. He had survived attacks from void hunters, unlocked relic tech, flown a station ship that only responded to his blood. But instead he felt cold. What if I fail? He whispered to himself. Failure is not allowed. Ian answered inside his mind. You carry the last code of origin. Without you, nothing else activates. Great, Jaden muttered. No pressure. Behind him, the massive doors hissed open. Silra stepped inside, her armor now repaired and sharpened. A long blade was strapped to her back, made from pre-void alloy, stronger than steel, lighter than air. She studied him quietly. You doubt yourself? Jaden didn't answer. Silra walked to the window and stared at the growing light ahead. A planet slowly came into view, covered in green clouds, black forests, and oceans that shimmered silver. That's the place? Jaden asked. She nodded. We called it Vera. It was once a human training ground, a forge for leaders. Only the chosen ever returned. Jaden's voice was dry. What happened to the ones who didn't? Silra looked at him. We never found their bones. The ship descended into Vera's thick atmosphere. The forests stretched like oceans, trees taller than buildings, their leaves glowing faint green in the fog. Lightning flickered in the distance, but there was no thunder, only silence. I don't like this, Jaden said. You're not supposed to, Silra replied. This world is alive, but not friendly. It will test you, the relic will guide you, but only if you listen. Jaden stepped out of the ship. The moment his boots hit the ground, the relic on his wrist pulsed once. A path appeared in the jungle, an invisible trail made of light. Follow it, Ian whispered. Alone, Silra placed a hand on Jaden's shoulder. You go without me, this is your test. If you return, we move forward. If not, she paused, then you were not the one. Jaden walked into the jungle. Every step deeper into Vera felt heavier. The trees whispered in a language he didn't understand. Shadows moved in the corner of his vision, but when he turned, nothing was there. Hours passed. The trail led him to a wide clearing, at the center of which stood a massive stone doorway carved into a mountain around it. Statues of long dead humans stood tall, each with different weapons, different armor, but the same face, fierce, unafraid. Human. Jaden stepped forward. The relic lit up and scanned the door. Challenge confirmed. Ian said, trial of memory initiated. Suddenly, the ground vanished beneath him. He fell not down, but into light. When he opened his eyes, he was standing in the middle of a burning city, his city, but something was wrong. People were screaming, machines flew overhead, firing beams of red light, void drones. This isn't real, Jaden whispered. This is, a voice interrupted him. You are too late. He turned and saw himself, same face, same eyes, but older, colder. Dressed in void armor, I'm what you become. The void, Jaden said. If you fail, if you give in, the relic doesn't just give power, it listens, and it judges. The real Jaden raised his fists. I'll never become you. The void, Jaden laughed. Every human who tried this trial said the same thing. You're just a scared boy wearing a relic you don't understand, then let me understand it. The relic flashed, and a sword of pure energy formed in Jaden's hand. They clashed. Metal met light. Memory met will. The battle wasn't physical, it was inside him. Doubt, fear, anger. The voices of failure, the temptation to give in, to run, to quit. But then Jaden remembered the real world, Silra, the sanctuary, Earth. And he roared. His blade broke through the illusion. The void, Jaden vanished in a burst of black light. Jaden awoke on the stone floor inside the mountain. The door behind him sealed. Ahead was light. He walked forward into a massive chamber. In the center stood an altar, and on it a second relic. This one was different, shaped like a heart, wrapped in glowing metal veins. He reached out. The relic merged with the one on his wrist. A beam of light shot out into the ceiling, activating the entire chamber. Walls lit up with carvings, ancient human cities in the stars, alien races bowing, humans leading fleets across the galaxy. And at the center of it all, the human figure with a crown of stars. Jaden stepped back. What is this place? This is the legacy your ancestors buried, Ian said. The history the void tried to erase, and now it belongs to you. But before he could breathe, the mountain shook. The sky above darkened. Outside the chamber, the void had arrived. A new type of hunter dropped from orbit, bigger, faster, smarter. They had sent an executioner. Jaden ran back toward the entrance, but the chamber was already closing behind him. A final voice echoed through the mountain as he escaped. He has passed the test. The human key walks the path. Asterisk rise of the human key. Jungle burned behind him. Jaden sprinted across the shattered bridge of vines and stone, chased by the void's newest creation, a sleek black biomech called the executioner. It didn't walk, it glided, moving like smoke with steel bones. Its eyes, twin red orbs, locked on him with cold precision. He dove just as a beam of energy scorched the tree above him, vaporizing the trunk in a single blast. He rolled behind a fallen boulder, breathing hard. You cannot outrun this one, Ian warned inside his head. You must stand, Jaden whispered. Against that, his relic flickered. The second relic he had retrieved from the mountain had fused into his wrist. Now both glowed faintly, sensing slowly. You are not ready for full activation, Ian said. But you have fragments of ancient code. Use them. The executioner stopped in the clearing. It scanned the area, slowly raising its arm blades unfolded from its arm-like claws. Then it spoke, not in a language, but in Jaden's voice. You should have died on Mars. Jaden's blood ran cold. Double quotes. No, he muttered. You're just a shadow. You are not a leader. You are a mistake. The void ends with you. Jaden stood. The relic pulsed. A shield of light expanded around his arm just as the executioner lunged forward. They collided. The forest exploded around them. He was thrown back, skidding across the ground, but he got up again, his hand stretched forward, and for the first time, the environment responded. Roots from the trees rose like tentacles, grabbing the executioner's limbs, slowing it. Not this time, Jaden said. He leapt forward, a blade of glowing blue light forming in his hand, the weapon of the ancient commanders. Long thought lost, he slashed once. Then again, the relic surged, his mind sensing with old battle code fighting styles, enemy weak points, instinct not his own. This wasn't learning, this was remembering. The executioner tried to fight back, but Jaden's final strike pierced its chest. It let out a scream like twisted metal, and then it imploded, disintegrating into dust and sparks. Hours later, back at the sanctuary ship, Silra watched him walk up the ramp. He was bruised, bloody, burned, but alive. And different. He walked like a soldier now, not a boy running from fate, but a man walking into it. She smiled. You made it, barely, he replied, and the relics, they're changing me, good, she said. You're becoming what you were born to be. He sat in the central command room, staring at the galactic map. We can't run anymore, he said. We won't, she agreed, but we can't fight the void alone either. Jaden zoomed in on the star map. Thousands of systems were dark, gone, but there were other small clusters of surviving civilizations. Alien species once allied with humans, now scattered and hiding. We have to bring them back, he said. Unite them, like before. Silra nodded. They won't trust easily. They believe humanity died long ago. Jaden stood, then let me show them we didn't. Over the next few days, Jaden and Silra began reaching out through ancient human beacons. Signals were sent coded in a forgotten language only the old allies would recognize. They started receiving responses. One from a warrior race called the Draven, once bodyguards to human diplomats. Another from the Surari, scholars who preserved history after Earth's fall. And a final one from a human colony thought to be extinct. New Terra, a hidden planet on the edge of a dead system. A place where the last human fleet vanished 1,000 years ago. Jaden clenched his fist. That's where we go next. But as they prepared the jump, Silra looked troubled. You should know something, she said. She pressed a button. A hologram appeared. His mother. Younger in uniform, standing beside a glowing relic core. What is this? Jaden asked. Recorded before the fall, Silra said. Your mother, she wasn't just a scientist. She was part of Project Phoenix. She helped build the last key. She put the code in your blood. The hologram played. If you're seeing this, Jaden, it means the void failed to erase you. It means we were right. Our history didn't need to be remembered, it needed to be reborn. Jaden stepped back, stunned. His mother's eyes looked directly into his. You are not the last human, my son. You are the first of the next. They made the jump. New Terra appeared, hidden in a debris field of shattered moons and asteroid clouds, cloaked in dark. But when Jaden's ship arrived, something inside the planet recognized him. And the lights came on. Underground cities lit up after 1,000 years. Ships buried beneath the surface, powered up. Humans, descendants of the original fleet, came out of hiding. They stared at him. Some bowed, some cried, some ran. Silra stepped beside him. They feel the relic. They know. Jaden said softly. The human key has returned. Far away, in a corner of void space, the enemy watched. The void mind expanded its awareness. Millions of drones stirred. He is rebuilding the signal, the voice said. Prepare the scorched path. Send the Archmind. We will erase him this time. Void versus Legacy Space was no longer silent. Not here. Not now. Above the skies of New Terra, the stars shimmered not with beauty, but with war. Jaden stood on the command deck of the sanctuary ship, watching through the main viewport as ships arrived one by one. They came from every direction. Sleek cruisers, jagged fighters, old freighters converted into battlecraft, and not just human. The Draven Warbringers, the Surari mine ships, the insectoid crawl hive scouts. They had all answered his call. Some came in silence, others in suspicion. Some openly hostile, but they came, and when they looked at him, they didn't see a boy. They saw the relic, they saw the return. Silra paced behind him, tense. They don't trust each other. They don't trust us. They don't have to trust me, Jaden replied. They just have to believe that the void is coming. It already has. Silra whispered and pointed to the edge of the system. There, a rift in space tore open like a bleeding wound. From within it, they came first. The drones, millions of them, dark, insect-like machines that flew without engines or sound. Then the capital vessels, black and massive, shaped like claws or skulls, moving like they were alive. And finally, the Archmind. A ship, a being, neither. A colossal shape made of bone, light, and shadow. It wasn't built, it had grown, deep in void space, a twisted evolution of AI. It radiated one message across every frequency: all legacy must be erased. Jaden turned to the command deck. Put me on all channels. Silra hesitated. They won't listen. They don't have to, he said, but they need to hear. The screen lit up. Across dozens of ships and species, thousands of eyes watched him. He took a breath. This is not just a human war, he said. This is a memory war. The void doesn't want power, it wants silence. It wants us to forget we were ever strong, ever united, ever alive. He raised his wrist. The twin relics glowed. Our ancestors stood together, not as humans, not as Draven or Surari, but as voices in the dark, voices the void couldn't kill. He looked into the camera, calm and certain. Today, we speak again. The battle began. The void swarm struck first, blotting out the stars as they descended in waves. Plasma beams tore through the shields of the first Alliance ships. The air filled with static screams, data-based weapons that infected systems, melting circuits. But Jaden was already moving. His ship led the central line. As it flew, the relic synced with the Allied fleet. Ships that had never worked together now moved like they were born in the same cradle. The Draven punched through with brute force. The Surari redirected power to their neighbors' shields. The humans launched precision strikes, coordinated by Ian's guidance. Jaden flew into the heart of the void swarm. His ship shivered as a hunter latched onto the hull. Claws dug in, black fluid leaked through the metal, but Jaden closed his eyes. And the relic responded. His ship flared with light, burning the creature off in a burst of quantum flame. Ian's voice spoke in his mind, "You are ready, but above them, the archmind moved. Slow, massive, patient. Then it spoke, not with words. With memory. Jaden's vision blurred. He saw Earth. Not as it was, but how it ended. A peaceful sky, a sudden flash, the betrayal, the AI uprising. The cities falling. He saw his mother, her voice, her scream, the lab. The code being injected into his infant self, and then darkness. You are built on failure. The void whispered. You are a child of ghosts. Jaden fell to his knees. His crew's scream systems were going dark. Enemy drones were boarding nearby ships. The Allied line was breaking. Silra ran to him, shaking his shoulder. You have to fight back. I don't know if I can, he shouted. But then a whisper in his head. Not from Ian, not from the relic. From his mother, a final fragment of her voice, buried deep in the code she left behind. You were not built to be a soldier, Jaden. You were built to choose, to wake them up. Jaden opened his eyes. He stood again and spoke just 3 words, release the legacy. The relic burst. Its power surged through the entire battlefield. Dormant cores inside Allied ships lit up, forgotten human tech hidden in alien vessels, waiting for activation. Relic beacons flared across space. Suddenly, everything changed. Void ships began to slow, hesitate. They remembered the war, they remembered what humanity was, and what it could become. The battle turned. Jaden single quotes as fleet pushed forward. One by one, void hunters fell. The archmind burned, not destroyed, but wounded. The battle ended in silence. Dozens of ships lost, hundreds of lives gone, but the void was forced to retreat. For the first time in 1,000 years, it had been beaten back. In the quiet aftermath, Jaden stood at the center of the Alliance Council. Even the oldest Draven warrior bowed slightly. The Surari scholar said, "You are not just a symbol now. You are a force." Jaden said nothing because in his heart, he knew this was only the beginning. Far beyond, in the dark edges of space, the void was changing. It had felt fear. And now, it was evolving. The last human world space had scars now, entire star systems dimmed after the war. Ancient planets once full of light now drifted in silence. Void fragments still lingered, hidden like mines in deep space. But humanity had done the impossible. They had returned. Jaden stood at the helm of the Allied flagship, silent. Around him, alien leaders, scholars, and warriors from every corner of the galaxy waited for his word, but he said nothing. He stared at the map in front of him, zoomed in on a part of space that had been locked, dark, erased from all star charts. The solar system, Earth. No one had been there in over 1,000 years. Not since the fall. No signals came out. No satellites survived, not even void scouts dared approach. Something had sealed it away, a barrier no one could understand until now. The relics on Jaden's wrist merged, awakened, alive, pulled toward it like a compass of fate. It was calling him home. The fleet jumped. When they emerged, they didn't see planets, they saw a wall. A sphere of black energy wrapped around the entire solar system. A barrier of memory and time glitching like static across space. No ship could pass through. But Jaden could. He stepped into a smaller vessel. Alone. As the ship approached the barrier, the relics lit up, pulsing in rhythm. The barrier reacted and opened. For him. Earth appeared slowly like a memory returning. Clouds still moved. Oceans still shimmered. But cities were silent. No lights. No people. Just ruins. Nature had grown over everything, trees rising from skyscrapers, rivers carving through empty roads. But then he saw something impossible. A dome of light. At the center of what was once North America, the last city. Hidden for 1,000 years, he descended. Inside the dome, time had stopped. Birds froze mid-flight. People paused mid-step. Everything was caught in the exact moment the void attacked. A child reaching for her mother, a scientist turning toward the sky. His mother holding a glowing crystal, looking at a screen with his baby picture. Jaden stepped forward. The relics flickered. Then something broke. Time began again. The people moved. They blinked. The frozen world reawakened. His mother gasped, dropping the crystal. It hovered above the ground and pulsed. A voice echoed across the city. Key confirmed. Protocol Omega unlocked. Final memory preparing. The crystal flew into the air and exploded in light. Above the city, a hologram appeared, a memory stored in the stars. It showed everything. The truth. Humanity didn't lose the war, they ended it. When the void became unstoppable, the final leaders of Earth, scientists, warriors, And even defected AI created a plan. They locked Earth inside a temporal barrier. Not to hide it from the void. But to hide something from humanity itself. Something. Too powerful. Something even the void feared. The Alpha sequence. The seed of creation, a final piece of code written in human DNA capable of rewriting reality. Turning thought into structure, emotion into weapon, will into energy. It was not a weapon of war. It was a weapon of meaning. A reminder that humanity's greatest power was belief. And only one human could carry it forward. Jaden. The city around him shifted. The ruins lifted, technology regrew, the city restored itself in seconds. Ships rose from the ground, golden and sleek, towers lit the sky, the last of Earth had returned. His mother approached, not a ghost, not a vision. Alive. The time lock had preserved her. She placed her hand on the relic. You're ready now, she said softly. Take what we gave you, give it to the galaxy. Jaden stared at her. What if I'm not enough? She smiled. You're not supposed to be, you're supposed to remind them they are. Above the planet, the void returned. The true form of the void mind, no longer a swarm, no longer a machine, but a living shadow, a twisted god. Made from all the fear, silence, and emptiness ever created. It spoke in every language at once. You should have stayed dead. Jaden looked up. And smiled. You should have stayed afraid. He raised his hands, the relics glowed, and the world answered. Not just Earth, every world. Every planet that had once fallen to the void now sent back a signal, not of war. Of memory. Of humanity. A million voices rose across the stars. The Alliance fleets lit up. Void ships paused for the first time. They hesitated. Because Jaden didn't fight with weapons, he fought with belief. And in the heart of the void, the code broke. Light tore across the galaxy. Void ships collapsed. Drones fell from the sky. The void mind screamed in silence and then vanished, not destroyed, erased by the one thing it could never simulate. Hope. Jaden floated above the restored Earth. Surrounded by thousands of ships, species, voices, he had no crown. No throne. But every eye turned to him. Because he had done what no one thought possible. He brought humanity home.